A concerning new report finds that in the United Kingdom, young people are increasingly turning away from God and instead turning towards Satanism. The story in the Sunday UK Telegraph featured the sub-headline, "Young People Turning to Satanism Instead of Stuffy Christianity." According to the article, over the past 5 years, one such group has increased its membership by 200%. Its leaders say young people believe church viewpoints on sexuality and gender identity are, quote, outdated. And joining us tonight with reaction, he is Father Steve Granell, CEO of Word on Fire Ministries. Father Steve, great to have you with us. First off, your reaction to this report, and does this surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me, and it's disturbing as a trend. It's disturbing in its premise, and it's disturbing as it indicates a Christian culture that is largely in retreat in the UK.
What do you think is fueling this increased interest in Satanism?
The evacuation from the culture of a robust Christianity. The late Cardinal George one time told me about his missionary work as a member of the Oblates of Mary Immaculate, that as the missionaries came in, they cleared out a spiritual space for people that was freed from the influence of black magic, of the cult, of those types of things. And it gave the people a sense of joy and security and peace. But as the church would retreat, those types of dark influences and powers reassert themselves. And I think that's what you're seeing in trends like this.
Yeah, it really is so disturbing. The so-called chaplain of one Satanism group calls it an avenue for young people to engage in activism on issues like gender and sexuality. Father, I want to get your thoughts on that and how they're reaching out to young people specifically.
You know, note the audacity of the claim of a satanic worship leader, I guess you'd call it, as a chaplain, which is a distinctly Christian role. It's, you know what, it's an anti-church movement. It's an anti-Christ movement. That's what you're seeing. And they're purveyors of a kind of a lie, a deception that the worship of Satan, the worship of an ideology based upon what's essentially a 19th century conceit about Satan, is somehow going to give people a beneficial and abundant life. You know, I'm thinking of the late actor Christopher Lee, who was one time asked himself about the influence of the occult on the young, and he warned them, you will lose your mind and you will lose your soul. So there's a great deal at stake on this, and we shouldn't trivialize it in any way.
Yeah, and something else interesting is this group claimed there's no murder, there's no blood rites or magic spells or anything like that involved in their rituals. And this, they also say they don't actually worship Satan. However, you know, they call themselves Satanists. Father, help us unpack all of this. And where does the truth lie?
Look, there's this concept in religious studies and theological studies called ultimate concern. What your ultimate concern is what you worship. So whether or not you have rites and liturgies that attend to that ultimate concern, if you have an ultimate concern, that's the object of your veneration, that's the object of your worship. So to say, oh, we don't have these satanic rituals, we just have this kind of diffuse way of life that's based upon essentially selfishness, and that's not, you know, it's not really a problem for society. It's a big problem for society because it's elevating an anti-God, anti-Christ ideology. And in doing so, it's captivating young people with promises that somehow this is a better way of life for them. Of course, it's nothing but a deception.
Absolutely. False promises, indeed. I also want to read a bit from the Global Order of Satan, their website. It says the following: the foundation of Satanism is built on the self and in carrying out Satan's work with humanity. The work is done when we give voice to the voiceless, when we challenge authoritarianism and injustice in the acts of compassion and practice of empathy, and is done when we pursue truth and knowledge. Father, again, your reaction to this, especially the part about pursuing truth and knowledge.
Mm-hmm. What does the scriptures, what does our tradition tell us about the Antichrist? The Antichrist will be a false imitation of Christ himself. And so what these people are saying is, oh, we have a salvific message. We have a salvific way of life. We're on the side of the victim, the oppressed, etc. It's a deceit. It's an attempt to confuse people by saying, oh, we kind of look like Jesus. But in actual fact, they're promoting the work of the devil himself.
Father Steve, we're almost out of time, but quickly, what can we do as Catholics, especially to help our young people not get caught up in all of this?
I would say first, repent ourselves. We can't be in a position as Christians in which we're in retreat from the culture. We have to be advancing the faith in the culture. And therefore, we have to look into our own lives and our own hearts and say to ourselves, where's the devil in me? Where is the hell that I'm unleashing in the world? Why aren't people seeing in us and in the church an alternative to this kind of gross, terrible ideology? Why aren't they seeing in us the presence and life of Christ in the world? How are we acting in the person of Satan, maybe inadvertently, by engaging in accusation, acrimony, all sorts of things like that? So once we repent, then we can advance the culture of Christ. We can advance into the culture with a message that is salvific and appealing to the young because it offers them an authentic and abundant life.
Well, Father Steve, thank you so much for speaking to us about this very important topic. We appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless you too.